My name's Andy Ferg. I live in regional Victoria, which I love. I've done a lot. I've been a filmmaker and an artist and a scallywag. I meet a lot of people, especially when I write about. You know, I travel everywhere. It's a great area around here. But people tell me these amazing stories. I think, wow, you know, look, I'm a compulsive sticky beak. So, you know, if anyone starts telling me something, I'm like, do tell. And these are people that haven't shared their story before or don't feel they're special, but I do. I think they're really special. And look, I really appreciate them sharing their story. It's like they're giving me a gift. So yeah, here they are, pretty much.
Look, I had a hard time as a child because I'm left-handed, and being left-handed in Russia is like being crippled. So my mother used to make me practice after school writing with my right hand, and she actually put my hand in a jar and tied it to me with a jumper over it. Teacher got really pissed off because it was a glass jar if someone had pushed me. And nothing helped. I still kept using my left hand.
Why was Russia so opposed to left-handed?
I think a lot of European countries are, because left means to the devil, sinister. If you think of the Italian word for left, it's sinistra. When Hitler entered Warsaw, my father had a wife and 2 sons, and the Nazis started arresting the men. So Dad said, come on, we're getting out of here, we'll go to Russia. And she said, no, I've got a home, we're comfortable. Who's going to hurt women and children? You go and everything will be all right. Well, he took his brother-in-law and the brother-in-law's wife and baby, and the baby was wrapped around my dad's tummy, because winter was coming, it was September or October, under a coat, and when they crossed the border into Russia, the Russians arrested them. So Dad spent 5 years in Siberia. But he was lucky because he was a barber. He spent the time in Siberia inside shaving people so they wouldn't have lice or fleas. So he stayed warm. And then the Russians released all their prisoners who'd come in illegally, and they were supposed to join a Polish brigade, but my dad sort of, with a few of his friends, said, let's walk to India. There's never been a war there. So they went from Siberia all the way down to Samarkand, and then my dad met my mum. And he didn't know whether his wife and children were alive or not, but my mother wouldn't sleep with him unless they were married. And in Poland, you're either married in a Roman Catholic church or not at all. So Dad had only married his first wife in a synagogue, so it was considered a de facto marriage. So she said, well, let's go to the registry office and register, and after the war you can go back to your wife, and if I get pregnant I'll be fine because there'd be lots of deserted wives after the war. But the Germans were already losing by then. So they married, and then they followed the Russian army to Warsaw, where he found out his first wife was dead. And they were there for the siege of Warsaw for, I think it lasted weeks. And Mum said when they walked through Warsaw, they were squelching on top of bodies that had already been squelched by the people in front of them. So, and the Russians said, let the Poles, because the Poles said, we don't want you to come and help us fight the Germans, will get rid of them, thinking that they would then hold Poland. But of course the Russians marched in and took over, and the Russians said to everyone, let them kill each other and then we'll take it.